Do you want more success, more growth, more results? Then it's time for the Boundless Success Accelerator from the Modern Observer Group. This isn't your average coaching program. It's where top performers come to dominate. Weekly group sessions, on-demand coaching, a community that's got your back, and a power-packed library of tools to supercharge your business and career. No more excuses, no more waiting. Get in, level up, and start building the life you've been dreaming about. Visit us at modernobserver.com/boundless success to join today. Let's get you to the next level. We're here because the news is being distorted. We're here because people are being inundated with misinformation on social media. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup.
This is the raw, naked truth.
A move to formalize spending cuts, a setback to Trump tariffs, a pause to student visas, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. The White House will send a $9.4 billion rescissions package to Congress next week, aiming to formalize spending cuts made by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. The proposal targets over $8 billion in foreign aid, including USAID and the African Development Foundation, and $1.1 billion from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which supports NPR and PBS. A 45-day congressional clock starts once the package is submitted. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Wednesday that Israel had killed senior Hamas leader Mohammed Sinwar. Netanyahu made the announcement in a speech to the Knesset, the national legislature of Israel. The Israeli leader had previously only said that the terrorist leader had apparently been killed. Mohammed Sinwar was one of Israel's most wanted targets and the younger brother of the deceased group's leader, Yahya Sinwar. Israeli United Nations Ambassador Danny Danon condemned what he called a shakedown by the UN to prevent non-government organizations from working with the new U.S.-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. While addressing the UN Security Council on Wednesday, Danon claimed that the world body was using threats, intimidation, and retaliation against NGOs that dared to defy the international body's call to boycott GHF. The Israeli diplomat described the UN's response to NGOs cooperating with GHF as mafia-like. Without any discussion, without due process, the UN removed those NGOs from the shared aid database. That database is the central system for tracking aid deliveries into Gaza, Danon told the Security Council. This is the gravest violation of the UN's own principles. It is extortion of well-meaning NGOs that refuse to kiss the ring. Lebanon's army has largely disarmed Hezbollah in its southern strongholds, in part with the help of Israeli intelligence, as the country's new government moves to enforce a ceasefire that halted an intense wave of fighting with Israel last year. U.S. and Israeli officials say they have been pleasantly surprised by the progress, which has been critical in maintaining the fragile truce struck in November. The question now is whether the Lebanese state can complete the task in the south and extend its efforts to the rest of the country. The man who allegedly killed 2 Israeli embassy employees outside the Capitol Jewish Museum last Wednesday night in Washington, D.C., was linked to the Party for Socialism and Liberation, which praised the October 7, 2023 terror attack in the hours after it happened. Elias Rodriguez, age 31, was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, murder of foreign officials, and several firearm-related counts. The Department of Justice is weighing whether it will invoke the death penalty in the case. Rodriguez flew from Chicago, Illinois, where he lives, to allegedly carry out the shooting. The shooting happened during an American Jewish Committee event the night of May 21st, which brought Jewish professionals and members of the diplomatic community together. Yaron Lishinsky, age 31, and Sarah Milgram, age 26, both died after the shooting. Lishinsky and Milgram were engaged. Both individuals were employed by the Israeli embassy. Rodriguez's father attended President Donald Trump's joint address in March at the invitation of Representative Jesus Chuy Garcia, a Democratic representative from Illinois. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement arrested an illegal immigrant Mexican national in Wisconsin last Thursday after he allegedly mailed a handwritten note to an ICE officer threatening to assassinate President Donald Trump. Ramon Morales Reyes, age 54, entered the U.S. illegally on a minimum of 9 separate occasions between 1999 and 2005. His criminal record includes arrests for felony hit and run, criminal damage to property, and disorderly conduct with a domestic abuse modifier, according to the Department of Homeland Security. He said he would self-deport after he shot the president in the head. An officer got the letter last week. A 3-judge panel knocked down most of President Trump's tariffs yesterday, saying the emergency law he invoked to impose them, the International Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977, didn't give him the power to do so. The panel said Congress couldn't delegate unbound tariff power to the president and that the U.S. trade deficit didn't meet the law's definition of an extraordinary threat. The president used the law to impose the so-called reciprocal tariffs on almost all trading partners, as well as additional tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China. The Trump administration filed a notice saying it plans to appeal, and final say is likely to rest with the Supreme Court. The Trump administration has paused new student visa appointments as it prepares to expand social media screening for international applications, citing national security concerns. At the same time, Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced new visa bans targeting foreign officials, including some from U.S. allies like the UK and Germany, accused of censoring Americans abroad. On Tuesday, Rubio also said the U.S. will begin revoking visas for Chinese students with ties to the Communist Party or those studying in sensitive fields. President Trump also proposed capping international enrollment at Harvard at 15%, down from 31%, following a freeze on $2.2 billion in federal funding and a block on the university enrolling foreign students. MIT shut down its Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion program last week. MIT President Sally Kornbluth officially closed the Community and Equity Office after earlier prohibiting the use of diversity statements in faculty hiring or student admissions, a university official confirmed. A senior administrative position at the office will also be eliminated as part of a return to a merit-based focus kicked off by Kornbluth in January 2024. That process involved an assessment of the DEI office's relative success as determined by senior faculty and staff members. MIT is in the talent business. Our success depends on attracting exceptionally talented people of every background from across the country and around the world, and making sure everyone at MIT feels welcome and supported so they can do their best work and thrive, Kornbluth said in a statement shared by an MIT representative. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.